I love the idea of taking a variety of ingredients, making a broth, using the broth to cook some fish and maybe some noodles, and then that becomes my flavoring agent in which I serve the noodles and the fish and everything else. I'm going to start by making a court bouillon, or a small delicate broth. I'll take a little bit of butter, and I've got carrot, some onion, celery, some leek, fennel, a little bit of apple. I think it's great to get some sweetness going. Some mushrooms that will provide an earthy characteristic to a preparation like this. And really, I just need to let this sweat and saute lightly for, a minute or two, and just release the aromatic flavor of these vegetables. So we'll get this going here. The thing is, aside from picking up all the beautiful flavor from the vegetables, the court bouillon then picks up additional flavor from whatever you're going to cook in it. So we start with our vegetables. We let them just sweat and give off some of their nice fragrance, their aroma. Stir them a little bit. I'm not really sauteing them so much as I'm just softening them up and releasing their flavor. This is an optional step. I could start straight away with cold water if I wish, but I think this is a nice way to kind of get the flavor coming out. So we're ready to go. I've got some water. We're going to just pour this right on top. Cold water. And really, at this point, we're just going to let it simmer. We can add some bay leaf, a few peppercorns, black peppercorns or white peppercorns. That'll just give it a little bit of heat. I could really take it up and add some chilies if I want a lot of spice to it, but I want this to be very delicate because my salmon is so delicate. I want to really showcase both the flavor of the salmon and the flavor of these aromatic vegetables. Fennel seed to kind of highlight the fennel flavor, and either acid, citrus that is, or something like white wine. This is a Sauvignon Blanc wine, dry. This will provide a nice acidic note going throughout the broth. We'll let that go for about 25 minutes, 30 minutes, strain it. I have one here that's been going, and this has all this flavor coming out of it. I don't want to let it go too long for fear that maybe I'll overcook the vegetables and really maybe extract some bitterness from the vegetables. But at this point, the vegetables are not really of any use to us. We've taken all the key essential flavor. My court bouillon is basically ready, and I can set about the rest of the process here. I'm going to take mushroom, since I want to reintroduce the mushroom in the dish. We'll just go ahead and slice this up a little bit. No big deal. I like this to be just cut up into pieces. Nice toothsome bite-sized pieces so that when I'm digging into the dish, I've got different textures. I've got the soft-fleshed melt-away fish. I've got these earthy, just nice bite mushrooms that I can try. I'm going to take a fennel bulb here. This is kind of fun. A lot of times when you go to the supermarket, you'll see something like this, and what do you do with it? Well, these fronds are really very useful. We can save these for a garnish. For the most part, it's the bulb on the fennel that's used. We can save the stalks. Sometimes I'll actually braise these stalks and use them for a piece of meat, something like that. But it's really the bulb that's got most of the flavor, and it's the easiest part to work with. It's not quite as fibrous as the stalks either. So we're going to cut this down, and this can be cut anyway. I'm going to cut out this sort of center portion, which is a little bit firmer, not always so useful. If we're going to braise it for a long period of time, I might go ahead and use the center portion. Really, I just want to quickly saute this, so I'm going to cut this into a smaller cut so it cooks quicker. So I'll just peel a few pieces off here, and I'll be able to quickly cut this into a julienne, or really any shape that I want. And I'm going to saute the fennel and the mushrooms together, and as that's happening, I'll be able to sort of put together the entire dish. So got my saute pan on, just a pinch of butter. I don't need too much here. I can add my fennel to the pan, my mushrooms, and we'll just let this go for a moment. Let it sit over here. In the meantime, I can work on flavoring my broth. Let me get that right up to temperature. Since I've got the fennel, and I want to reintroduce that sort of anise flavor, that very delicate anise perfume, a great way to do that is by adding some tarragon. Get it in here. It'll begin to release its volatile oil and give off that beautiful flavor. We'll add some salt at this time. We can always adjust the seasoning at the end right before we serve it. A twist of pepper. And I'll try this just to see if we're on the right track here. And I think that's pretty good. I can taste the vegetables, I can taste all the flavors. Keep this sauteed here. Turn the heat down just a little bit. I've got some pasta, some noodles that I've cooked off and then shocked in ice water to stop the cooking. Tossed in a little bit of olive oil. That can be done in advance, ready to go. I've got my fish ready to go. Salmon, just little pieces. You can ask the fish butcher to cut them down to whatever size. You can buy a bigger piece and cut it down yourself. This dish is actually great with shrimp. We could take some shrimp meat or even some chicken, do the exact same process. But salmon works really well because poached salmon is so succulent. It just melts away, and it's a great method to poach it in this fennel broth. So we're going to go ahead and season this. Salt, pepper. Some of this will come off in the poaching broth. That's okay. We can re-season it. We'll drop these pieces in here. They won't take long to cook, especially keeping in mind that we want to, in a sense, undercook this. We want to leave this medium rare because it's going to keep on going. So we want to sort of time it. When we feel that it's just soft and it may be even seeming a little too raw, we'll pull it out anyway because we want to let it keep on cooking as we assemble the dish. My vegetables are just about done. I can really just reheat my pasta right in the same liquid here. It won't take but a second. Now I'm making a version, I guess you could say, that's an individual portion. I mean, there are two ways to look at food. There's the individual portion, or there's serving something platter style or family style. This is just one way to do it. If I were serving more people, I would simply get more fish in the pot, get more pasta in the pot, and maybe serve a bowl of pasta on the side, my fish on one platter, my vegetables on another. People could help themselves. But to do this in an individual sort of plated preparation, this is how we're going to go about this. Pasta's in here, warmed through. We're just going to put a little bit in our bowl. Just a little mound, nothing too fancy. We're able to go ahead and place a few of our vegetables in here. They just have a little bit of color. And, you know, what's great is texture. And imagining you've got the toothsome al dente pasta. You've got these really nice earthy mushrooms. Fennel that's got just a little bit of bite to it. Lightly caramelized so we can enjoy its natural sweetness very nicely. And we can check our fish and see how it's doing. I'm sure it's very, very close because it doesn't take long. Yep, it's just on the rare side. So we're going to pull it out here and let it just sit for a moment. This will be a good opportunity for me to re-season the fish just lightly. Now I don't need too much because the broth is seasoned. Just a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. And I can literally just place my pieces of fish right on top of the noodles here. And, you know, we also added apple in the court bouillon. And one thing is to reintroduce the apple. And since we're going to pour hot broth in here, there's no need for us to really even cook this apple. It's kind of nice to enjoy apple raw anyway. And its sweetness, it's just going to provide a very, very nice note of sweet elegance to all of this. So we'll just julienne that a little bit. And I'm just going to strew a few pieces about the bowl. Now you see how quickly this comes together. Once I've made my court bouillon and cooked my pasta, really the whole plate just comes together in seconds. So I have my salmon with all my ingredients in the bowl. I can go ahead and add some of my broth to this. Great. I'm just going to pour it right on the fish and around the bowl. It'll keep on cooking the fish. And you can just see this aromatic and very delicate broth just sort of coming off the bowl. We can, if we want, add additional herb. The whole idea of working with one ingredient, getting its flavor, going back later, reintroducing it again, releasing the flavor at the last minute. That volatile oil that exists in the herbs. Beautiful stuff. Just sprinkling it about. And you know, we've saved some of the fennel fronds. Really easy to work with. Again, more of that beautiful, delicate anise fennel flavor. Kind of like working with fresh dill, these little fronds. Sprigs of dill. Same sort of thing, although certainly a different flavor. So we'll mince that up. And here we go. We sprinkle it on. Nice colors, very simple. It's very, very festive kind of a look here. I've got some olive oil. This is an optional touch. If I want to add richness to this dish, I'll just spoon some extra virgin olive oil around. Let it literally bead in the bowl, a little bit on top of the fish itself. And And we've got some really nice flavors, just very harmonious together here. Kind of a Mediterranean-themed dish. The freshness of the apple sort of really giving a nice little burst of last-minute flavor. And here I am. So let me go ahead and just take a little bite here, and the mushroom and the fish. Let's see how that is. Oh yeah, nice and just perfectly cooked. A little bit translucent in the center. Very healthy, very tasty. I think we've got the dish.